Humans have always cared more about shape rather than size. Some examples include cars, architecture, art, and of course, bodybuilders. Throughout history, some of the greatest physiques weren't always the biggest, they were the most proportional. In this video, I'll be explaining how the shape of a human body can influence aesthetics and what you can do to change it. Our bodies are made up of shapes. Think about it. An average physique could be described as a rectangle, a slightly more overweight physique could be described as a triangle, and an aesthetic physique could be described as an inverted triangle. Which one immediately catches your eye? There's many factors that can change the shape of a physique, but one measurement has a bigger impact than most: the ratio between shoulder width and waist width. The bigger the difference between each width, the more aesthetic a physique becomes, and the stronger the V-taper tends to be. Let's look at an example. 44-inch shoulders, 32-inch waist, 44 divided by 32 is 1.38. That's your measurement. This is a fairly average ratio. There's some difference between the shoulder and waist width, but nothing too dramatic. Now let's look at 48-inch shoulders and a 30-inch waist. 48 divided by 30 is 1.6. The shoulders are only 4 inches wider than the first example, and the waist is only 2 inches slimmer, but visually the difference is huge. The shoulders look broader, the waist looks smaller, and the entire physique appears more aesthetic. What's interesting is you'll find that neither person has a huge amount more muscle, yet one physique stands out more. That's because humans don't judge by size, they judge by shape and proportion. Once you understand this, you'll stop asking, how can I get as big as possible? And you'll start asking, how can I create more contrast between my shoulders and waist? So, if the shoulder to waist ratio is so important, then the next question is which muscles have the biggest impact on it? Because not every muscle has a positive contribution towards aesthetics. A lot of people don't understand why each muscle group is trained. For example, side delts increase shoulder width, lats create a narrow waist, and muscles like the chest and the arms add size. Every muscle contributes to the ratio in different ways, whether that's good or bad. A good example of a muscle that has a bad contribution to the shoulder to waist ratio is traps. Highly developed traps can completely ruin your frame by making your shoulders look smaller than they are. This is because they give off a sloped look right above your shoulders. Up until this point, we've talked about factors that can be changed, but there's one factor that influences aesthetics before you even step foot in the gym: your clavicles. You may have heard of this term before, but it's just another word for your collarbone. Your clavicles play a major role in determining how wide your shoulders appear. Some people naturally have wide clavicles, while others have narrower ones. So why does this matter? Imagine two identical physiques, same body fat percentage, same training experience, same muscle mass, but one has naturally wider clavicles. Instantly, the physique with wider clavicles appears broader and therefore has a stronger V-taper. This is usually what people mean when they talk about good and bad genetics for aesthetics. Most of the time they refer to wide clavicles, a smaller waist, and favourable muscle insertions. These traits make it easier to create a strong V-taper and look more aesthetic. However, this doesn't mean that your physique is entirely determined by your genetics. A naturally wide frame is an advantage, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. A lifter with a narrow frame but excellent shoulder, lat, and ab development can still build an extremely aesthetic looking physique. Think of wide clavicles as being tall in basketball. Yes, it's a huge advantage, but it doesn't guarantee success, and lacking that advantage doesn't guarantee failure. It just means that some people start closer to the finish line than others. So as a result from what I've spoke about in this video, we can conclude that aesthetics isn't about building as much muscle as possible. It's more about creating contrast between the shoulders and waist width, and by balancing proportions. So next time you spot an aesthetic physique that you want to work towards, don't ask how much muscle do they have or how much do they weigh. Ask what makes them look the way they are, because more often than not, the answer isn't size, it's ratios.